Welcome back to Big Mama's house, y'all. I am here today with Lizard. We're just gonna have a little mama baby chat and see where we go today. How are you feeling today, my lizard?
I'm vibing.
Vibing. All right. Not quite sure what that means because I'm old, but I feel ya.
Most Gen Z will recognize it as just, you're just chilling, just going with what's going on.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, this morning we were having a beginning sort of chat. About some stuff that's been in the news lately, and it's really kind of pissing us off. It really
This
is.
is the government ticks us off, honestly.
Well, the government is run by people, so it's the people in the government that are horrible and all need to take a flying leap somewhere. But the issue today that we were talking about is all of the transgender things, and the bills and the debates and the
The
bias
fact
and
that
the
so many states have decided that trans people are suddenly the biggest problem going on. It's not the fact that people can't afford housing, people's jobs aren't paying them well enough, healthcare,
elderly people have to choose between medication and food.
like me being choose between like I don't have insurance right now.
Correct, unfortunately, because Papa lost his job for stupid, nonsensical, personal reasons. Somebody had a vendetta against him.
And they didn't even give him a reason. He just
Yeah, that,
showed up to work, and they're about to like open his store or whatever, and they're like, "Okay, you're fired. Get out."
yeah. After right around, he was there for like a week short of 6 years. And he was the manager, so it doesn't make any sense.
A well-respected manager too.
By his colleagues, by his customers. Yeah, it's crazy. But anyway, long story short, they lost their insurance, him and the kids, because I'm thankfully on Medicare because I am disabled. And Lizard, you applied for disability, and you want to explain what that's about?
For the past year or so, as you know, Mama's on disability because she has a chronic widespread pain and other
I've
issues.
got like 15
Like
diagnoses.
17 plus diagnoses. Like the doctor's like, "You're a mess."
I am a mess. That's the official diagnosis.
And for the past year, like I guess like beginning of like early 2022, I started dealing with pain issues and my body's slowly breaking down. Like summer of last year, I could still run, I could still do things. I had more issues doing it.
Well, last summer it was your knee that you broke your knee,
But no, no,
a
no, no.
bone in your knee.
That was in July, and then I went. And then, to my defense, I broke my bone. I fractured a bone in my knee in July, and then I went to the ER that night, and they can only do X-rays at our ER. So I had an X-ray done, and it said that there wasn't a fracture or any bone breaks. So then for the next month, I just walked around my knee until my
And okay, a little insert here. Mama told her almost every day, call the doctor, make an appointment. They can do an MRI. Call the doctor, make an appointment. You need an MRI. Finally, the pain got annoying enough and debilitating
I'm
enough.
pretty sure Mama just made me an appointment actually.
I did finally. I just did it
And then they showed there was a fracture in my knee.
through with an MRI.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm not a doctor. I didn't realize that there are some breaks you could only see in an MRI. I was not aware of
And
that.
Mama used to work in the health field when she was able to. So, yeah, I knew there was something going on and she was just being stubborn
That's also when it showed that I had severe joint degeneration in my left knee with the
already
in the MRI.
and at your very early 20s.
And over like ever since like December, I have dealt with daily chronic pain from like my in my basically anywhere I think
All your
I'm
joints.
pretty sure that anywhere you can experience pain, I have experienced pain in the last few months. So again, obviously, I am unable to work not only because of my physical stuff, but because of my mental health. Even before that, it was very hard for me to keep a job for long.
The social aspect of it, being around people every day, leaving the house every day was very is still very, very difficult for her. Like, say, like it's payday and we got to run a bunch of errands and go to the grocery store and different places. And if she goes to 3 or 4 places in a day, she's homebound for, days to a week because she just has to get over being around that many people and out in public. And
So yeah, that was difficult. And so I applied for disability. I did it back in like January, February.
I convinced her to do it because I saw what she was going through.
And like I'm 22. Like I had the whole thing. I had this whole idea in my mind that I was going to have a great job, my future, and I was going to work hard. I'm a physical type person. I like
Yes, you
doing
are.
physical jobs.
Her entire life, it's been slow down, lizard, get back here, wait for us, because she doesn't walk anywhere, or didn't walk anywhere. She was always running.
And Mama can also attest to this that ever since like when I was like even like 11 or 12, I've had muscle and tendon issues.
Oh, yes.
Like Achilles tendonitis, patellar tendonitis. I've had flat feet issues. Recently, they found out that I have an accessory bone in my left foot, which is basically an extra bone. Mama apparently has 3 of them scattered across her body.
And I have joint or fused wrist bones or something, which is very, very rare.
Yeah, so we're a mess. And
We're special.
right. And so okay, let me tell you something about disability claims. So I do all this paperwork, I fill everything out, and at that
Which
point,
took almost an entire day.
and like it took me like, and when they sent me the paperwork for it, at that point with the winter and the cold, my hands ached. They hurt. Every single one of my joints, my hands felt like pain. But I was writing it out, and then within less than a week, well, maybe a week after I sent all that in, they denied my claim, which obviously was
It was
not.
an automatic reject.
It was automatic rejection, and so I've done I'm like, they have no
They didn't
time,
even wait for them to get your records.
and so I automatically. Okay, so the first time I did my disability claim, I was very nice about it. I did very polite. I told them everything was wrong. I went for sympathy. My appeal was a lot more angry. I told them like, you basically not in these terms. You motherfuckers did not look at any my records. If you looked at my records, you would know how much pain. Do you know how hard it is to want to get up in the morning when your legs are already hurting and your knees feel like they're you would rather cut off your legs. Actually, at this point, it's like my hips down, so I would just cut off from my stomach down to go to the pain. You don't understand.
I do.
Yeah, my mom understands. She's been dealing with it for 10 years. So I went for the angry route, and now it's been 2
Well, you
months.
had to file an appeal in
Well,
order
yeah,
to
my
even,
appeal was the angry tone.
and that was about
2 months ago.
2 months ago, and they're still reviewing it, which is
proof that they didn't look at anything the first time. It was an automatic rejection, basically like, haha, we don't care. So now I just hate the government.
well, the people in the government because they're the ones that
I
screw
think I
everything
literally
up.
put somewhere in my appeal thing, I hope you never deal with what I deal with on a daily basis, because if you did, I know they deny you even faster than you did me.
Yeah, it's horrible.
And
I don't know if it was just the fact that I already had my records together and was because I kind of knew what was the process was because I did some research on it. And
but also,
I waited 4 years though after I was unable to work because of my pride. My pride said you don't, take charity and you work for a living and you
but
do
also
for
like
yourself.
with my disability, apparently my actual mental illnesses, because I am a diagnosed schizophrenic, would put me down as disabled. And I have been on schizophrenic since I was 14. I think that's when I was diagnosed.
Yep.
13, 14. And here's my theory. When my mama got disability, it was like early 2010s. I'm not gonna give exact date reference.
It was different.
Yeah, it was Obama was in office, things were running smoothly, people cared, and mine is after Trump fricked up and took away all the funding in the government. Like he literally, like I'm sorry, but COVID, literally a month before like COVID started getting rampant in the U.S., he fired the pandemic response team. He was literally just in there, just along to frick
Well, and
everything
they
up.
downgraded FEMA, the CDC,
Right?
everything.
He used it like again, like I honestly I feel like they're so underpaid. or like understaffed right now that they basically just reject everybody, and if they repeal, then we'll deal with it.
Yeah, because
But still, you
most
stuck.
people don't realize that appealing isn't difficult. It's just you have to send in that form, I guess.
Well, it's online, but still, it's all these questions that I filled out before, and this time, and my hands were still hurting. Luckily, with the warmer weather, they're feeling better. But again, like from I most of my days is sitting. It's laying down because I hurt, and I'm like,
And that is something that never happened a couple of years ago.
if this was the 5 stages of grief, I went from depression to anger. I am in my anger phase.
And it is because you have to grieve the person, the life that you wanted, the one that you had, and figure out how to work with the one you've been given.
I still cry sometimes.
Oh, I do
I get
too.
very frustrated. Like again, I was the person who was doing most of the chores in the house because Papa and Mallow work because I had issues working for long periods just through my mental illness. But now I've been even set back even more. Like I can't work. I can barely do the chores around the house. Like if I do a chore, it's maybe one a day, and even then, that's pushing it sometimes. Especially
Sometimes.
if I had to go out and help with something. Or maybe it's like it stormed. Congratulations, my entire body hurts just from the weather.
Yeah, if it's overcast and cloudy and humid,
Right?
oh, that's the worst. My every bone in my body hurts. Um, but the point being is the government and all the trans bills and
Again,
the
like
hatred and bigotry that they're promoting to that group of people.
oh, like our drag queens. Like they decided that trans people and drag queens are the biggest issue in our country, which is not. It's not. Like
There's so many
like
problems.
I'm gender fluid. I am. I believe more toward lesbian than bisexual, just because I find women more attractive. But it's like trans people aren't a problem. I don't know. There was actually a TikTok video. I actually know the person. I am mutual friends with this person. Their name. I'm gonna call them Dell. They were kicked out of this bar and grill. That they live by, just because they were trying to use the bathroom and they were trans. And now the
And
owner,
because she wanted to use the women's restroom,
right?
she got thrown out.
And honestly, there was a TikTok video. I don't remember which TikToker did it. You probably could be able to find it quick, easily. But Dell uh is now being harassed, and even like there's been death threats against her just because people are continuing her story about how this bar and grill just was transphobic against her, which obviously the owner was in the wrong. You should not kick people out just because they're using the bathroom they feel safe in. And I
Here's the thing. If he really thought it was a problem, they would have had someone wait for the bathroom to be emptied out, let her go, and then other people, sorry about that, y'all, I hit the mic stand, but, and then let other people use it. If that was really, if safety was the concern,
yeah.
because this is a small mom and pop bar and grill, okay? It's not like it's some huge place. And yeah, there are ways and means to take care of everyone with, if for whatever quote unquote safety you feel or
I think
whatever.
so. Dell feels safer in the women's restroom because uh Dell feels safer in the women's restroom, and Dell is very open about this. I've seen the post on their public
Yeah,
Facebook.
you showed me this morning.
Yeah. Dell was actually uh as sexually assaulted in the men's restroom even before during the beginning of their HRT.
Right. Which
So
is hormone replacement therapy to
honestly, if
transition.
they're like use the men's restroom, but if she's getting assaulted in the men's restroom and you're trying to force her out, honestly, if you have a problem with someone using your restroom because they feel safer in there, you are the reason why bathrooms are dangerous. I don't even care if you're not trans and you're like just a male presenting or male at birth was trying to use the women's restroom because they feel safer in there for any reason. I wouldn't give a frick. Go in the restroom or like
Do you know how many times back in the day, whenever you would go away to the bio father place to the weekend and your dad and I would go out and have an evening out and go to the bar, that the women's bathroom line was so long. So I just went into the men's room and I did not give a single F. Not
And
one. Because you know what? I had to go and there was nobody in there.
right, if you have a problem with someone using the restroom,
You're the
you're
problem.
the problem. And honestly, I feel more concerned if someone was policing the restrooms, making sure that someone of the wrong gender, there's quotation marks there, was using it. I feel more unsafe with someone doing that than just a dude walking into the women's restroom or a woman walking to the men's restroom just to use the bathroom. There's no parties in there. Like, just
Now,
look.
don't get me wrong. I've been to some bars where people were having all kinds of fun in the
Okay,
bathroom.
I don't go to bars
But,
though.
but, this again, this is a small town, mom and pop place.
Actually, the town that she was in,
Yeah, it's just a small town mom and pop bar and grill, and it's ridiculous.
I thought,
And it irritates the
we're
piss out of me.
no dissing against mom and pop shop. It's just a bigot old white man who thinks that he has the right to say who can go into bathrooms.
I'm not disagreeing with
And
you
also,
at all.
but also the all the people like on the post apparently that's been threatening Dell and everyone and her has been older middle-aged white men. No women have any issues with her. There's been no women that's like says get out of the restroom. You should have been in the first place. It's men. And like you're the reason why bathrooms are dangerous. You're the issue here.
I completely
You're
agree.
the reason why she doesn't feel safe, even if she wasn't presenting female. Why she probably wouldn't want to use the men's room in the first place.
Absolutely. Yeah, I don't understand the reasoning with people in the toilets. I really don't. Um, it, I don't even have words. I just don't.
Yeah. There has been some states in the Midwest. I think Missouri was one that I saw. They had a ban. There was like an emergency order to stop HRT with even adults. That has been thrown out of courts.
For being
And
unconstitutional.
also, I think that the same state, Missouri. Apparently they are. There's a news story like my Google thing and GOP lawmakers in Missouri are worried that Missouri voters will legalize abortion. I'm like, if you're worried about that, you were not going through the best interests of the voters.
Then you're
You
not doing
were
what the people want, which is what you're supposed to be doing.
like, does no one read the Constitution? Is the Constitution just there to just look pretty?
Oh no, that just gives everybody the right to a gun. That's all that's for.
Right? Like, what happened to separate church and state? If you're using the Bible to, validate a law,
Influence your political opinion.
like, I'm atheist. I feel more comfortable being atheist. Mama does not agree with that. She is Christian. She believes in God. But if honestly, if you have to use the Bible to validate a law, I feel like it shouldn't apply to anyone other than, people who believe in that. Like, if
Well, this has been my issue forever now. This country was founded so that we would have religious freedom, and people's freedoms are being taken away because of religion. And that is the antithesis of what we were supposed to be
like
doing.
separation of church and state has been totally forgotten. It's thrown out the window. We basically burned away the entire Constitution, other than the Second Amendment, where "Give me my gun."
It's like whenever they came here to escape their religious persecution, they decided that, oh, we're just going to pick up all the Puritans, attitudes, and no drinking and no sex and no this and no that. And it's ridiculous because these ideas that they're going off of are a couple hundred years old. And it's time to wake up, people, and live in the now.
Like, okay, so no offense to Mama. I know her beliefs, but the Bible is also written by men. No, but also
Rewritten.
rewritten because the Catholic Church was old white men who obviously have a very bad history.
Dude, I'm the one that taught you this. I'm the one that said
I'm still
the Bible is amazing, but it has been edited and re-edited and rewritten for centuries by human beings who inevitably fuck everything up.
right? Like, and also, I've also made this point before, but the Catholic Church was made by the Romans who 200 years before had killed Jesus themselves. Like they were the start of this whole thing.
Yep.
It was there, and they decided to just take it over. And it's like, and they didn't even use all the stories that Jesus that was around. They cherry picked all the stories, and they also used the what's the Jewish term for the Old Testament?
The Torah.
The Torah, and they again like the Torah is very much mistranslated a lot. And the original Hebrew text, a lot of things are different. A lot of things aren't the same. Like the whole man shall not lie with man like woman. It's man not shall lie with basic children as you should woman. Basically, you should not be with a child as you would an adult.
Which you wouldn't think you would need a rule for that.
But okay, but let's be honest, the Catholic Church has also forgotten that rule because they translated
Not
that
all
themselves.
of them. Not all of them.
There is too many like honestly.
I agree. There's too many, but it's not all of them. There are good
With the
priests
amount
and
of
everything
research that has been done and the amount of evidence of how many people have been charged, I would trust a child with a drag queen faster than a priest.
But here's the thing. Think about it. In the next 20 or 30 years, the Catholic Church is gonna be in a big, hard way because how many people nowadays do you think are signing up to be a priest? To be poor and to work your butt off every day for nothing, to not be able to get married and have children, supposedly. But
well, actually, it's more like honestly, I think religion's gonna have a big downturn. Like the U.S. military is actually dealing with a harsh decline because surprisingly, people don't want to go to war to die. They don't want to sign up to get shot at just for like a degree that won't matter.
people today don't. Plenty of people signed up for wars
I'm talking about
before.
the newer generations. We're not talking about like grandpa and everything. But again, like
Just pointing out that,
and there's a lot.
You guys like to say all and every, but
I'm talking about current modern right now.
gotcha.
But again, like the military is like has the lowest recruitment rates in decades, and there's a reason for that. It's just like I honestly think that people are like same with religion. People are growing up in religious households that are, again, not very nice, and they're not going to bring their children into that.
Speaking of religion and things that drive me crazy, cults that are framed in the realm of religion.
Like the Mormon, Jehovah's Witness are all technically cults.
Scientology.
Scientology is a big one.
Yeah,
Isn't Tom Cruise a Scientology?
Yes. And I mean, there's a lot of Scientologists. And here's the thing. Scientologists who are famous and make money are basically forced to give a lot of their money to their quote unquote church. That church has like $1 billion stockpiled, okay? And churches aren't supposed to be allowed to do that.
Also, the mega churches. I feel like they're
oh my god, mega churches, every one of them are going to hell. I'm sorry, because that is not what you do. Whenever, according to God and Jesus, you're supposed to help your fellow man. Okay? If you have something, like with the loaves and fishes, you are supposed to share. Okay? Hoarding anything is wrong in any realm such of the imagination. Especially whenever they don't pay taxes, which brings us back to the government, which pisses me off.
To tie that in, some people like there's actually this Netflix show about an atheist, and someone asked him a question of like, if you don't believe in God or the Bible or like believe in religion, why aren't you go around murdering or raping people? And he's like, because I got morals and values. Like you don't need a Bible to tell me that I shouldn't be killing people.
One would think or hope.
And like, so I also saw like another post about this. It was not me. I don't know who put it. I saw it somewhere. I have bad memory. I'm sorry to whoever originally said this. But if people point out like you're saying like trans people all this is unnatural, your God literally was walking on water. He was bringing people, healing the sick. He was turning one loaf of bread and one fish into dozens. And you're saying someone using surgery to become who their actual gender is unnatural.
No, they're saying that God doesn't make mistakes and that you should be happy with what he made you.
Okay,
And
to play off of religion, God also puts challenges onto people. People love to say like, "Oh, it's okay that you're or like you're sick, your husband's sick, your child died. It's just a challenge that so God can make you stronger." Why can't that be their challenge? God was like, "Okay, well, you have to go through some trials and tribulations. You're gonna have to become who you're supposed to be, and you're stronger you. Here's your challenge." Why don't they think of it that way?
because they
Like,
don't want to, that wouldn't
again, you go,
fit in their narrative.
they want it's all about control and who they want you to be, and then that's the whole thing.
Because it's the same thing with abortion. You know, I mean, okay, here is my view. It's not, may not be popular. I don't have any problem 98% of the time if someone needs an abortion. That's their business. That's between them and their God, and it's none of my business. Now, me personally, I could never do it. I mean, if I found out that the baby was had something horribly wrong with it, it would have a painful or horrible or no kind of life at all.
Or I was just gonna die on birth
Right.
anyway.
Then to save that child from the suffering, I would suffer. I'm a mom. That's the way I think. You know, I would suffer in the loss of that child, but that child would not suffer anymore.
Yeah.
So that was how I look at it. I would pray and hope that my children wouldn't either, just because in most circumstances, babies are blessings, even if you're not ready for them, or like if you're waiting for the right time and money to have babies, you're probably never gonna have one.
I'm also gonna like point out like mom had my sister when she was 17.
I did.
She was
Yeah,
very young. So she said that we were the biggest blessings in her lives.
absolutely.
And honestly told a lot of people that, and there's also people who said they don't regret even a second having an abortion at 16, 17 because they would have not have been able to have the good lives they have now. They wouldn't be, and they had children later on. They said that we wouldn't be able to give them their lives as good as they have now if I had that child before. So there are different circumstances of, and honestly, again, pro-choice. Even my sister, who's pro-choice, doesn't want to have kids at all, was like, even if I got pregnant, even by accident, she said that she doesn't think she'd be able to have an abortion, just personally. It's just something that she couldn't be able to do because she's a big heart. She's very kind. She's
She's
very
very, she has a marshmallow heart. That's
right,
why she's mellow.
and that's a big thing. Like, but you shouldn't tell someone they can't because you say so.
You don't live their life. You don't walk in their shoes. You have no idea what their story is. Can I say what?
yeah. What back in like 2019, I was raped. Honestly, uh I did not get pregnant from it.
Thank God.
Maybe because
Well, you did go to the emergency room for the exam, and they did give you the morning after pill.
the plan B. And honestly, I didn't even think of it. That's not something that would have crossed my head. I was dealing with a lot of issues, and the nurse was the one who said, "Would you like this? Is this something you'd want?" And honestly, whenever I heard about the abortion ban, where they were trying to stop that from being something to be even be offered, especially for me, like at that time, I wouldn't have thought about it.
It's disgusting to me that anybody would want. Yeah, if it's something that is the one time, like I said, 98% of the time, I'm not a big fan of it, but you know, each their own, is in the case of incest or sexual assault.
Or even just for
I
medical
believe,
issues.
or obviously, you know, there's health issues involved, you know, things like that. Um, but I felt that way for a long time, but especially after your situation, because I can't, you were in a horrible state of shock for over a year.
Yeah,
Like you,
I had bad mental health before. It did not. It was not good after.
so I can't imagine if you would have had to carry a child through that. I just don't know. I can't even imagine it.
Like I don't think I'd be even in a half of a good place I am now. I have spent obviously it's been 2019. This has been years of me.
It's been almost 4 years now.
Like the first 2 years, I don't even think I would be able to talk about it like
You
this.
couldn't, and we couldn't say the R word or
Even like, me just saying that I was is
a
a
huge,
year
huge
ago, but
accomplishment.
just in the past year.
Yeah, it's been a long, hard road for you. And here's the thing, Lizard is the baby,
I am
and
the
we
youngest.
are all very, very protective of her. Or, sorry, I always say her. I know it's them.
Honestly, I give them
She gives
use
me a
any
break
gender.
because she
Use
knows.
any gender, I'll answer to it,
Depends on the day.
right?
Which I've come to accept. That was kind of a shock at first too. But
I like to joke that she got a son, a daughter, and a they them.
that's right. I got a whole pack of kids all in one.
You got all of them together.
And depending on the personality of the day is how well the day is gonna go. Sometimes
Honestly, it's been a hard journey.
it has.
But I honestly don't think I would have been able to be even as good as I am now, even healing at all, if I didn't have my support system. Mama and Papa have always been, no matter who you love or what, we always love you and accept you, and they've always been my biggest support. Especially as I said, I have been diagnosed with harsh mental illness since I was 13, 14. So yeah, it's we've been dealing with medical issues for years. Um,
Between your
Mallow's
sister and her teenage
Mallow
years.
had bad depression for so many years, like to the point where she doesn't remember most of her teenage years. Like depression got so bad it's just blocked out mostly. Like we'll bring up something and she's like, "That happened."
She like barely remembers Disney World.
Like it was a very hard time for her, and it was very again like all that stuff put together. We're mom always calls us like a table. You take off one leg, it's not a good support.
It won't work. You can't function. And that's what the four of us and now the five of us are.
Right. Our brother Tiger is a newer addition to our family. We kind of like adult adopted him, but honestly, he's very happy. Apparently, he just got a noodle, which is a snake. Uh, he's able to be safe, comfortable. He's able to just take time for himself. Again, it's like about being a family, a support system where you don't have to be judged for it. And not a lot of people have that. A lot of people just can't even, or no contact with their parents. Some people have to go contact with their children, either for a variety of reasons, other than just, you know,
I can't imagine that. It would just break my heart.
like I think like having our podcast is honestly very important because it shows we've all had something go very wrong in our lives. And
Absolutely.
yeah, we always stuck together.
And we always got through it.
Like ups and downs, we had issues with each other, but we
That's
always again like stayed. We always stayed as together.
right.
And again, like not a lot of people get that. And so be able to hear that and just be able to see like and again, like sometimes it's just like you may not like Tiger. He didn't have the family like this before, but he found it,
That's right.
which I think would give other people hope that you'd be able to find yours. You'll be able to find your family.
That's right. And
You,
that's why we're here. We're trying to that's kind of our motto. Everyone is welcome at Big Mama's house.
right?
Um all right, I think that's kind of a good place to wrap it up. Any last thoughts?
I do want to put this in as for a later episode sneak peek. We should talk about how we actually let in friends and family members before.
Oh
For all
yeah.
those stories where like Mallow's had friends that we've actually let stay with us long term, like months at a time. We have
We've had family
who
members,
really didn't really know. Well, Mama knew them because
Papa's ex co-workers. we
right,
we tried to open our home to anyone who needed it whenever, we were able,
yeah,
if we had that availability. But yeah, that's a good idea for a future down the road.
right. I don't think Tiger's known a lot about them because we don't really bring them up much.
No, we can tell him stories
Like
when he's up visiting again.
you're the long term stay.
That's right. You always got to come back and hear what's coming next. All right, you guys, come on back to Big Mama's house next time. I hope y'all are safe and have a wonderful day. Bye.
Bye.